Welcome to Suffolk Matters, where Suffolk County meets the men and women of Suffolk AME. News, opinions, and insights you won't hear anywhere else. Filling in for AME President Dan Levler, AME Executive Vice President Tom Moran.
Good morning and welcome to Suffolk Matters. My name is Tom Moran, Executive Vice President of Suffolk County AME. Today's guest is AME member and President of the Police Emergency Unit, Barbara Gordon. Barbara, welcome to Suffolk Matters.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background and your career journey leading up to your current role?
So before working for the county, I used to work for Symbol Technologies. They used to make scanners, and a friendly neighbor, a grew-up neighbor, she called and worked for the county. She called my mom and said the county was hiring and having civil service tests. They were like, you and your daughter should go. So me and my sister took the test. We also went to do the postal inspection test. She got the post office job and I got the county job. And I've been there for 23 years and love every minute.
Was there any other tests that you took for the county or just the one?
No, just that one.
And what drew you into public service besides your neighbor? Was it the background of what public service was? Did you know about being a public employee before this?
No, I really didn't. But I knew that they had a union, which my dad always was for unions, and I always felt like I have a big heart and just care. And I thought it would be a great job for me because, being an R1 operator, it's very rewarding for helping people.
And what is your exact position with the county?
I'm an emergency complaint operator.
And just for our listeners, what are the titles that are in? What function does that serve?
So I'm a 911 operator. We also do 852 cops, but they also have dispatchers in our unit, and as well as teletype, they're also in our unit.
And I'm familiar with it obviously from my background, but where you work, that's the abbreviation is PSAP, the Public Safety Answering Point. So basically, anybody that dials 911 in the county, you guys are the first ones that it goes to, and then you direct it out after, whether it be going to FRES or to what other municipality or agency that it needs to go to.
Yes, that's correct.
For people to understand that you're having, these people are having an emergency, having the worst part of their day or worst day that they may ever have. And you have to be the person there that, one, gets them help, and two, sympathetic of what's going on, reassuring them. How have you progressed from day one to where you are now, so many years into doing your job?
Every day when the phone rings, it's a different situation. We all are trained and professional, and we actually, care about the people on the other line, and we just want to make sure we get the help that they need. And if it's something like upsetting that we get, we all stick together. We help each other out. If they need a break, we go take a break because, some things could be really serious. But all in all, we all enjoy what we do, helping our community.
What challenges are there? This is a huge community and a huge destination spot. Major highways, people are traveling back and forth. Everybody doesn't always know where they are. What are some of the things when somebody does call 911 that maybe there are stumbling blocks that you have to navigate through?
Thank God the county invested in awesome technology. We have 3 monitors. When I first started, we had a phone with the caller ID and then 1 monitor, where now we have 3. Then, we went from beepers to cell phones. I might show my age, but the cell phones now you got to click and make sure we get the phase 2, which is the accurate location where they are. Because, a lot of times people do not know where they are. So we just make sure when it comes up on the computer, we verify that is exactly where they are. And then we also have Rave 911 system, which actually gives you the estimated exact location. So thank God we have all this equipment to help us do our job more efficiently.
Yeah, and last August 8th last year, it was 30 years for me being a 911 operator. And in that time, so much has changed. The technology changes almost yearly, but back in 1994, there wasn't a lot of cell phones. There were people that had hardwired phones in their house. And then once we moved into the late 90s and we started with this enhanced 911, it was the phase one. You mentioned phase two. Phase one was it would just hit the cell tower.
Yeah.
And so while that helped and would narrow down an area, when you think about the community that you live in, there maybe there's one cell tower for 3 towns. So you call up, and what used to show up there was just what the physical address was of the cell tower itself. So you still, while it helped, still had to navigate through and find out where the person is. Now we've broadened it to being able to text. We can do text to 911. But anybody that's ever, texted a friend, sometimes you misconstrued a message. So again, that's a new field that you guys have to navigate through.
Exactly.
So you spoke about your dad earlier. Was your dad a union member?
Yes.
And what did he do?
He worked for Hostess and Drake's.
So there was always snacks in your house when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, but then mom said, pump the brakes. Too much sweets.
Anybody that's, dad or friend had the Wise potato chip route, you
Yeah.
always got the...
You swapped. My dad would be like, I got the Wise chips, but we gave him, Devil Dogs.
So he was involved with the union for that. When do you find out about the union? Obviously you said you knew about it going in. That's why you took a civil service job. But when do you start to learn about what AME actually does?
Well, so then working for the county, then I saw that people were union members and they were looking for union members to join. So I said, why don't we do it? I asked some other friends to join with me. And I just was really inquiring of what was the union and what it really entailed. And then being a president now, I see the outstanding job that you guys do, everyone there. Dan Leveler, the president, has been exceptional, doing things better for us, taking things away that we should have never been implemented to begin with. And it's always a learning experience.
Yeah, and so many units that each unit that we have is so dynamic, yours included. Because my understanding from it too, coming from a unit that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, rotating days off. That's on your personal life, and that's just hard for people to understand what a rotating days on and off is. And there's a family party on Saturday, and they say to you,
Yep.
are you coming to the party? And you're like, no, because it's my Wednesday. And they're like, what do you mean it's your Wednesday? That rolls through. So, we have a job that is, and you've seen it, I'm sure. It's a big turnover, right?
Yes.
It's not for everybody. You spoke about the challenges that happen when somebody does call 911, and you're hearing some, pretty bad things. And there's the days that you have your good day, and then there's the other days where every time you pick up that call, it's pretty horrific stuff that you're hearing. So, I always tell people that it's kind of a job that somebody does maybe for 5 years, and then they move on because they just don't, or like you and I have made a career of it, or there's people that take the test and do a little training, and it's not for me.
Yes.
So that's something that we've tried to, make awareness to, do some hiring using the help plan, so people could get in the door a little bit faster, cut some of the red tape out of it. But again, I say overall, it's trying to, have these positions filled and have these people there because, again, 24-hour unit and something happens or somebody doesn't come to work, you're kind of stuck there. And that's a broad band of many of our units that are actually stuck when somebody doesn't come in.
Yes. Definitely short-staffed in our department.
So you spoke about that. Can you talk about some of the specific examples of positive change that you've helped work with us to get done for your unit?
So working for the county, we used to have to do X days. X days are days that we'd have to go in, mandatory training, but on our day off, and we wouldn't get paid for it. So Dan Leveler did an outstanding job and got those X days removed. but then we still have to do mandatory training with state and county regulations. And also, the training is to do the system to make sure that our backup system works appropriately. So now, when we do those training days, we get paid for them, and it used to be 4 times a year. So that was awesome for our unit.
And, you know, again, like you said, we have a 911 call center. My unit, Frez, has one. You guys have one. But again, you have to always be prepared for whether it be a natural disaster, whether there be sometimes we've both been involved where the communication system goes down, where the phone lines go down. Now we deal with a voice over internet provider. That's some types of people's, they use that where their phone is actually run through their internet through their home.
Yes.
So when people are talking about they're having an optimum problem, they're also lost their capability to be able to reach out to us. So when things like that happen, we do have to have a backup plan or a backup center. So when you guys have to go to your backup center, what does that entail? You just said that you do trainings. Is there a certain amount of trainings you have to do? Is it like once a month we're going to go do the backup seminar? How long are you there? And how is it different from being in the 911 center that you're in daily to using that backup center?
So the backup center is actually located in Quartermaster. It's actually their cafeteria room, and it's laptops and the phones, and then we write on our cards. I mean, on the computer. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of in the back in the day. We type it, enter everything on the laptops, the call, but we don't have their phase 2, or we don't have the Rave 911. So it's definitely going back to old school where you got to ask exactly where you are and what's the address.
Yeah, and when
the
people are
street.
in those situations, when people like are calling, they don't want to be asked more than one question. They want to be
Yeah,
they
like,
want you
just
to
get
say
here
help.
now.
Yeah.
And about the VoIP, that was a great thing that you had said, because someone called and said I'm being burglarized, and then they hung up. And the VoIP has their address in Quorum, but then they moved to Connecticut.
Yeah.
Never told VoIP that their new address is in Connecticut. So then we ran to that house, and then we told Connecticut, and she was in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So it's like we're always trying to
And some of the
shuffle through.
it's depending on what the weather is. How many times have you taken a 911 call from somebody in Connecticut because it's right just
Yeah.
across the sound, and they happen to hit our cell towers instead of
Yes.
hitting their cell towers. So it's always something that you have to navigate through.
You know, working at 911, of course, like, we never know what's going to happen when the phone rings. And just the fact that the worst point in their life, people call and they're upset, and then we are always there to help them, and blessed and honored to be on the other end to help them. Like, we just appreciate our job and love helping people for the county.
Yeah, and the PSDs that work through the public safety dispatchers, those are the ones that are actually they're communicating with the police officers as they're responding to the scenes. They're giving information that the ECOs are taking. They're updating it. It's all in real time. But you are the first of the first responder there. You're telling them what's going on, and you might have that normal call where somebody's bleeding and it's an ambulance call, and you're giving it, and it's like then you find out that the person was stabbed, the perpetrator's still there. Now we have people going in there. That constant updating makes it better for the police officer. You're keeping them safe. We've just come through a bunch of high-level incidents that have been in the news that you guys have been involved in just because of what you guys do every single day.
Yes.
So also some of the things that are unit specific to your field is, you talked about the training. There is training out there that you guys go through and where you can talk about your bad calls, your distress that you face. What are some of the type of classes that you guys go through when you are being trained on those incidents?
Well, we also had peer counseling, like if anyone needed any assistance for peer counseling. I even was one that someone, if they had a bad call, they would just grab me. I'd take them outside and, let them just talk through it. But all the training that we do is all county and statewide. But then also we have the psychiatrist, or if you want to go to, or the priest at our job. He's there for help too. Um, we
Now,
always
when you're doing some of the peer stuff, though, that's actually people that are working with you, your coworkers that are helping you get through this. It's not
yeah
somebody that you don't know. It's somebody that, not only can relate to having bad incidents or bad calls, but it's also somebody that you feel maybe a little more comfortable
comfortable.
speaking with. So, Barbara, we've talked about the stuff that you've worked on in your time as the role as president and moving up and being involved. What are some of the things that we could look forward to for you advocating, working with the executive board, and moving forward in 2025?
I know Dan's working on the salary appeals, so obviously everyone would be very grateful and appreciative on that aspect because, living in Suffolk County is, hard. And the fact that we do work many hours and um, other agencies, other towns make more than us. So that was awesome that Loveler did actually do the salary
The
study,
salary study, and
which was
and
awesome to find
it's
out.
it goes across all titles, right?
Yes.
And also we've done that because we understand that, especially you don't work in a job where somebody leaves or retires, and that spot can be filled immediately. There's 6 months of training. There's a whole process to even get hired. Um, but what we can do with better compensating people that have that knowledge and that they're not going to leave to other municipalities. They're not going to a higher paying job where, for them it would be less volume because they go to a smaller agency, police department. Uh, Either way, the you don't want to lose talent and the internal knowledge. Like I said, you can sit there and talk to a coworker and help them through a bad time. If you're not there and somebody doesn't have the experience that you have over 23 years and dealing with it, dealing stuff with on the union end, you're not there, then somebody else picks that up and maybe it's not the same as when you were there doing it. So, Barbara, what's some advice that you would give somebody that's listening right now and maybe they don't really know what direction their life wants to be? What would you say to encourage them to maybe take a look into being an ECO, a PSD, somebody working in police emergency?
I think working for the county is an awesome job due to the fact that you're helping your residents in Suffolk County. You're hands on, and the job in itself, working for the county, you have job security, you have a union that backs you up. Um, the county does work hard with, you know, with us. When we do our job well, we get rewarded sometimes. And like being working for the county is an awesome job. You meet awesome people that work there. It's also job security. You have a union that helps you out all the time. It's a beautiful way to reside. When you retire, you have a pension. We have awesome medical. And then, when you do work overtime, you get a voucher with money. So, like, there's a lot of good perks to work for the county.
And Barbara, what type of traits or skills would somebody have that's thinking about taking a job? Like, what type of person you think would really gravitate to this type of role?
I believe that we have 6 months training and 6 months training for the dispatchers and 3 months for the ECOs. We're definitely hands-on. Every day is a learning experience, but we definitely train efficiently to get you prepared for the position. And it's a rewarding job. I mean, you're helping your residents in the county.
So think back to 23 years ago, since you touched on, do you remember the first 911 call you took?
Oh, wow. Yes, so it was an aided case. An elderly woman was calling because her husband was possibly not breathing. And then they would, Frez gave it to Frez. They were saying, can you try to get your husband onto the floor? And you could just hear that she couldn't do it. I just felt like she was like a little elderly, small, frail woman. And my heart broke. So I wanted to like go through the phone and help her. But yeah, like you'll always remember those special calls.
But in reality, you are helping her because you're doing you're getting the help sent to her. you're getting her the help. Frez is doing the emergency medical dispatch protocols where you're able to tell them how to do CPR, even if, like you said, if it's that frail or older person, there's still ways that you can get it done, that you can give them some help until, the police officers are out there. They're out there driving around. They get the call. It's they all have their own sectors where that they're patrolling. So help is relatively there right away, and then the ambulance will follow up. The fire department that wherewithal. But again, your first call. Were you on training then, or was that your first actual
No,
call?
actual, yeah.
That was your first actual call. What did you think of that the first time you were training? Was it a little overwhelming that you had just started this?
I just was so excited to be there and just listening to the calls and making sure I remember the questions I was trained to ask. And in the long run, it's just a very rewarding job.
And it's important that you say the question. It's, when we do these type of roles, you have to be the one that takes control. People will want to blurt out a whole bunch of information, but you have to be the one that, all right, where is the address? What's the cross street? And you'll move through there, because again, they're hysterical. They're in the worst, possibly the worst moments of their life, and you have to take control, be that voice on the other end of the phone, and get the help needed, as we spoke about. And Barbara, what would you tell somebody, one of your coworkers, how you get involvement with them, how your journey started as that you got through being just involved with the union, going to events, then being an elected officer. How did that work out, and how do you encourage your members to get involved with what's going on?
I'm just like a supportive and loving and big-hearted person, and even before I became in the union, I was always the to-go-to girl, like the people would ask questions, or even if they ask a question, I'll be like, I'll find out the answer for you, And then with the union, I really wanted to learn myself as well and try to make sure that everyone's doing right and what we're getting or not getting. I just really wanted to be involved. And I think it's great to advocate for my work family and be supported for them. And when I saw that I was a VP, and then the presidency was vacant or, was up for voting, I was like, I might as well just do it. I'm already hands-on already. And then I went against my friend Amory, and she was really like, I don't even want to do it, so you better win, So that was cute. And then she retired like 3 months later anyway. I really enjoy working with the union and my work family and making sure everything's to T and doing right.
Well, we appreciate it, Barbara. It's been a pleasure working with you and your former administrations at Police Emergency to help address the issues that do face your unit, and to be able to rectify those, make it better for the workers there, and continue to move the union forward as well as your unit, because that's what we need to do. We have to continue to just work in the unique challenges that we face each day. My guest has been Barbara Gordon, the unit president from Police Emergency, and it's been my pleasure speaking with you today, Barbara. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too.